and welcome to another episode of To Be an Artist. I'm here today with Aurelie Freoua, and she's a visual artist. We know each other from Resonance Performances. She's the founder of Resonance Performances and the director. Hi Aurelie, thank you so much for joining me.
Hello Petra, thanks a lot for inviting me.
We know each other from work, from the show that you created called Resonance Performances. So we met each other about 2 years ago, but I actually don't know that much about your early days as an artist. Can you catch us up a little bit about how you got started out in art?
Yeah, so actually, the start as an artist is always really, really important. It kind of influences all your journey as an artist. And also, usually, it's very powerful moments, and you remember this intensity of your wish to paint or to create art at the beginning because you don't know exactly what you would like to do. You don't know exactly what's your main medium, and actually, you discover it as a need to create, and then gradually the medium becomes a bit more precise, and then you say, okay, maybe it's more going to be painting, and then you try out and you experiment a lot at the beginning. So for me, actually, it's because I was doing other things in the past that were not related to art, and I was really, really feeling that something was missing into my. I needed to express. I needed to do something very, very creative. I was obsessed and passionate by creativity and art. So and I was thinking because all the people around me were not so much into this creative discipline, and so I had to. I went to a lot of museum. I tried to connect with the artworks I was seeing there, and actually, like I was feeling transformed all the time. I saw artworks in this gallery space and museum, and then I thought, okay, so I wanted to, I had the need to paint around 2013. Before that, I was doing more in parallel of something else I was doing, not creative. I did acting. It was one of my first medium of expression, and I was passionate and obsessed by theater and acting. So, but then at some point I realized like something was missing as well. I was less independent. I wanted to be free to express whatever I wanted. So painting came like this, like a fire. I went to get some paint and brush, and I created an abstract painting. That was the first things I did. And then gradually I wanted to learn more about figurative art. I went to live drawing class a lot, and I met a lot of artists there. And then everything took a shape. It was mostly abstract painting at the beginning, but then I started to integrate some figures in my painting, some landscapes, some figurative elements. And then the journey of performance came on the road around 2016-17 when I met Oliver Wendling from the Vortex. And it's been an amazing journey because we developed this idea of performances mixing music, painting, poetry, dance that came after. It was and everything is taking shape. But the beginning we can't forget about these moments.
Mm. Was it very easy for you to identify as an artist, or did it take you a while to really declare to everyone, yes, I'm an artist, I'm here to express myself?
Yeah, it's a great question. At the beginning, actually, I was struggling to say this word because I was thinking maybe people think it's a pretentious word, or what is an artist? What's the definition of an artist? And actually, I was saying I am doing art. It was something that was easier to say, or I am in art in the creative world or something. And then I had a discussion one day with someone saying like. If you want to do something in life, let's say if you want to become an actor, if you want to become an artist, you have, before you start to do it, to say people like you are an actor or you are an artist, because it comes to your mind and it's come to like the people see you this way, and then it's influencing your mind and your unconscious, and then you can assume to be what you had in mind that you wanted to be, to become. And so yeah, and then when you do it, you say it once or twice, after it becomes more natural, and when you are in the art world, the uh, artistic creative environment, you can say it very naturally. People can, for them it's a natural word, and then you can specialize. You can say I'm doing more visual art, but yeah, I noticed I met so many artists doing a lot of multidisciplinary art forms, and then it gave me confidence to keep doing multidisciplinary stuff.
As you said, you started out with acting, but even now, so it was kind of verbal at first, and but now, even now, you still work a lot with poets as well. There's a poet part of resonance performances. We
Yeah.
met at a spoken word event where I was dancing and you were painting, by Sean Rivers, and you also regularly draw for a poetry event, don't you?
Yeah, so actually, like the poetry was the first multidisciplinary events that I was doing, because it was called Erratic Score with Iris Colomb, a poet. So she involved me into something called drawing breath as well. So she asked me to respond through painting to poetry, and that was the first thing that put me into this environment of all the various art form interactions. And then actually, we did an event at the Vortex before Resonance was created, called Erotic Score. And there was like, it was a purely poetry and art interacting with each other. So there was no music yet. And actually, this is after this event that I said, okay, we are in a jazz club. Maybe it would be great to involve music. So then I say, okay, music and painting, but let's also integrate poetry. So the three art forms started. But I did know online since the lockdown. We have developed an event called Words and Art with Nikki Heinen. So yeah, it's so we've done it online mostly. So at the beginning, it was me responding to Nikki poetry only, and then she invited guest poets, and then so I respond and improvise as well a lot to other guest poets that I discover on the day, and sometimes they send me the poem a bit before so that I can just read them and maybe think about some ideas to draw. But I like keeping the spontaneity and improvise totally. So yeah, so poetry was definitely one of the first trigger of all this amazing journey. So yeah, very important medium.
How did you develop your style? Because I think your style is quite recognizable
Yeah.
now. But I don't know how long it took to actually, develop this bright
Yeah.
color.
Thanks. I'm happy you feel this, because it's great. Basically, like um, it's a good. So I started by doing. I did a few big abstract paintings that were more like limited in terms of palettes. There were less color at the beginning. I was using more like mostly orange, red, yellow, and a bit of black something. So it was more because I wanted to experiment with the texture and like materials, using palette knife, um, different type of brushes, and water, like and trying to feel how these elements were interacting with each other. And then I started to include more colors afterwards on the way. It just came naturally. I was thinking, why should I limit to just a few colors? I should like start to explore, add some blue and green, and secondary and complementary colors. So and then it developed by doing all this collaboration with the musicians. Performances where I had to respond to jazz, so or respond to improvised music and free music. So I realized how many common point there was between jazz improvisation and abstract painting, and it was really really linked. So there are so many similarities in terms of improvisational journey on the canvas. And so yeah, it developed a lot with musical and poetry improvisation. But then sometimes when I'm in my studio by myself creating an abstract painting, this is similar process of improvisation, but I go deeper into, because it's a less quick process. So you explore more like the texture the you experiment with more material or something. But improvisation is definitely the key of the start of the painting that I enjoy the most. And sometimes, actually, when I do painting that are a bit more figurative, like portrait or try to integrate some surreal elements or landscape, sometimes people tell me that they recognize my colors, they recognize my style, even if it's not abstract. And this is very cool, to know that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
How long? Because normally when you improvise, I think you have to paint very quickly, and you also paint on a large scale, and you have to kind of, normally we do like sets, don't we? Or you have like one evening where you have to complete the painting. But if you have no time pressure, how long can it take if you um paint one of your paintings in the studio?
Yeah, so actually, so I learned to paint very quickly during the performances. Sometimes we are limited in time, and sometimes also this is part of the challenge. Um, when I paint my studio, are really, really big ones, I could be very quick. I could be like painting it maybe 2, 3 days or very intensively. But sometimes I like to spend more time stepping back on it and coming back gradually. So painting a few hours there per day, like a few hours there, and then leaving it on doing other things, then coming back to it. Because I think it makes you have a new interpretation of the painting you're doing, and you have like a new vision when you come back to it. Because when your mind is fully into something, you can't step back, you can't really analyze it. And so actually, like when you step back, you say, okay, maybe now I should paint it more this way. So it's very interesting to. It's a bit like as if it was still you, but another you as well, because it's not exactly the same moment. So and then I can spend like 2, 3 weeks on the painting if it's really big or something. Yeah.
All right. That's still quite fast though, right? Because I know oil paintings sometimes take a long time.
Yeah, actually, it's quite fast. Actually, when I paint more figurative stuff or when there are more composition elements with figure and stuff, it can take definitely longer. Even more if you want to do something very precise. But if you are in a free movement process, actually, sometime when you overdo it, can also kill it. So this is the difficulty is definitely to find a moment to stop. This is a challenge, and but you feel it sometimes, like you feel okay. So I've said what I wanted to say in this painting, and this is the moment to stop it. If not, if you continue, it will be another story. The painting will be another story.
Mhm.
I think so.
Um, Painting is one thing. So the next step would be you have to get it seen by people. You have to push it out to arts galleries or, have to get some sort of attention. Otherwise, it will just be in your studio. How
Yeah,
do you approach? Because also, like, one of the interviews before was Lei
yeah,
Louche, and she said she spends about 30-40% of her time on the computer trying to do administrative work or promotion.
yeah.
How's that for you?
Yeah, it's true. Actually, I spend a lot of time doing computer things, trying to, like do all the social media. And I play the game because doing the social media is not something I especially enjoy. But I play the game to get noticed and to let people know what's going on, But I find it extremely energy taking and time
Mhm,
on. So I would prefer just not having to think about it and just making art and creating because sometimes 2, 3 hours on social media instead of creating a new painting. So, but also if we don't do it, we kind of like everything is in the shadows, and stay hidden in the studio. So, but in the past, I'm a bit nostalgic about this. In the past, where Picasso, all these artists, didn't have to think really about it because it didn't exist. And so people were writing articles about them, but they were not dealing with this, and they were just doing their stuff in the studio. You had a photographer coming, and then so it was an interesting time, like purely creative. And so yeah, it takes and also organization of even because now I'm doing more performances, and it is definitely very very important now for my practice as a painter. Organizing performances is also like taking sometime but this is also a great excitement to organize. And the galleries having exhibition, you have also. But when I speak to artists, you know, organizing the show, curating, hanging the artworks, like thinking about which painting you want to exhibit, that kind of stuff. It's definitely, yeah, for a lot of artists, it's like almost half or more than half of their practice. It's but if you're well organized, ideally you manage to deal with everything. But it's about like being organized. But being an artist usually and being organized can be also paradox. It doesn't work always together.
A lot of the resonance shows, at least the ones I've been part of, it always had kind of a backside story, either like a philosophy or psychology. It always had like a theme, so we were still improvising, but we had a goal of storytelling via assumption almost. Are you interested yourself in psychology or philosophy?
Yeah, I'm really, really passionate by psychology and philosophy. Actually, I am. In the past, I wanted to become almost a psychologist or psychoanalyst doing this kind of things because it's very linked to the mind and it's a way to do introspections and learning and understanding more about what is inside you. And actually, doing art is almost, I think, for most of the artists, psychoanalysis is because you express what is inside you and you try to understand what is you want to say because sometimes you don't know exactly what is in your mind and you just want by making it visual you can understand better what is around and how and which direction you want to take. So I am also I have a passion for science because in the past I studied mathematics and so I like the scientific approach as well. So all the subjects are for me extremely linked and actually like during resonance it's an amazing um, the thematic came a bit after actually in the resonance 2 when we added this. The first thematic was metamorphosis, the one you took part was dreams, and the one online memories on the art of resilience. So it's really tricky now to imagine a resonance with no thematic because it's definitely leading the musician, the way they play, and the dance, the painting, everything. And actually, this is because I have a passion for it. I was thinking, okay, let's integrate some teams, and actually, like also because I have this theatrical approach, I'm passionate by theater. Um, Adding the dimension of a thematic, it's a bit like almost feeling doing a play, a theater play. So because there is almost a script in a way that is unwritten, but that's behind the screen because people follow this energy of the thematic. That would be maybe one of the next steps to add. Some writing and some scripts. So basically, there is also like one Carlo, who is a psychanalyst as well, and he's really motivated in the idea of writing a play based on resonance, and he's doing it. So it shows how much it can impact the psychological area and also philosophical stuff ideas and yeah, so it's gonna evolve. And also we have a passion for art therapy, and Lei is doing also an art therapy course now, so this is really great. She does this and actually because we feel really associated to mental health, to the mind and to mental paradoxes and issue, everything linked to it. So yes, it's evolving more and more into this art therapy, almost like environment. So it's evolving in different contexts. That's why the workshop, we new things that we do associated to the performances can go into this direction of you know yeah, art therapy things.
Yeah, I think that's the great thing about resonance performances is the audience leaves in a different state than they came. Because I think being in a multimedia event like this, you have music, you have visual arts,
Yeah.
poetry, effects, it's like projections. We had fluorescent bubbles flying around like in the air. It's not often that you can immerse yourself into so many different art forms at the same time for a period of time and just surrender. So I think it definitely has an impact on the audience
Yeah.
to have this experience because it's so rare and so special.
Thanks. I'm happy you feel this. And this is the people who came to the live shows. Some of them have said that it's very 60s vibes, reminding them how it was in the past, etc. And actually, like this is like a beautiful compliment to receive from the audience because it shows that there is this atmosphere that is that they haven't experienced in a long time, and definitely it's very immersive. That's what we would like is to create as much immersion as possible and almost as if the audience is taking part, and is integrated into the process, their interaction with them. And this is one of the next step as well of, the performances, integrating the audience because the immersion, the experience is, it's very strong. And the bubble last time was definitely added the layers. It's adding layer on layer and fusing everything together.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's we feel transformed. Even us as performer, I think
yeah,
we feel transformed after each shows, and hopefully the audience as well, because it's that's what we want as well, to make people realize, connect with themselves, their mind, their spirituality, their soul, even more, and helping them to asking themselves questions and grow and get transformed by all this. Mm.
hmm You said that Resonance is almost becoming like a theater piece, and I just remembered that you actually did a theater piece where you both acted, but also designed parts of the set with your artwork, and it was a different style artwork.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
and you also had to draw differently because you were dealing with an audience that's looking at it from like a certain distance, and there were like quite large artworks, and it also had to go with the play that was being performed. How did you approach that challenge?
So actually, this play was when you came was Oedipus. It was very very interesting because this is linked to mythological stories. It's very different from the thematics that I usually that explore in my art. But I've always been interested and curious about it, and I wanted to like learn more about it. So so actually, when they said, "Can you do like a set design for it?" I said yeah, it's going to be a great challenge because I first it was black and white. They wanted it so totally, very different from my colorful approach, and then it had to be linked to the theme of Oedipus. So I had to learn the story, and the fact that I was acting in it as part of the chorus pushed me definitely to learn the story really well and to learn by the lines. And so then I did the composition of the drawing by looking at some images and like art history, classical paintings about it. So and then I did the composition painting on this big fabric where I drew the line of we saw Oedipus and we saw the dragon and we saw like the story, you know. And the transformation, how Oedipus after at the end of his life, and so I really enjoyed like being actually like having these two aspects involved in this project, in this play, where I had paint set design and I was also part of the play acting, and yeah, it was a very strong experience, and actually I was feeling like like I express myself as well doing this chorus, but through the drawings. But when I do resonance, I feel it's I'm 100% me because I'm not acting. I'm not like actually part of a character. It's me. I'm me. This is that's why it's even really powerful. But when I did the more set design with the theater techniques, it was so I've done it with another play, a lot of play based on Chekhov, and I had to do some backdrop as well, some painting, cherry orchard, and I painted a few canvases as well for Swan Song. So it was like 6 Chekhov plays on the same show. Ivanov's Three Sisters, The Seagull. It was really, really interesting to paint on this because I really had to think deeply about the composition and to really learn the stories. So it pushed my ideas to create compositions that were not abstract and were a bit more surrealist. Um, and I was acting a bit in some of them. So yeah, it was exciting. Really, like the best way to combine actually my my new perception now as a painter, because when I was doing theater in the past, it was more, I didn't have this visual approach. So now I am adding this layer, and yeah, it's really great experience.
How was the timing of, let's say, Oedipus? Because you had to also do the rehearsals because you were acting in it, but you also had to do the set design. Did you design the set in the front, or did you have to split your time between the play and the set design? How can I imagine that process?
Yeah, it was very, very intense. So actually, because we had a rehearsal every day, and before we had a performance in front of the audience, we had rehearsal as well. So for 1 hour and a half, we did the show again, because actually the director of this play, Oedipus, is the one who founded the theater. So he's really, yeah, he's so passionate, and so yeah, he wanted for every show that we repeat and we do a rehearsal. So we had two performance per day almost, and actually what happened was, I think I did them a bit at the same time, and sometimes I can be a bit uh, last minute in a way, because it stimulates me to arrive to this point of like panic, like total, last minute, that I go and I start the painting. Sometimes you need to be on the edge. You need to be on the edge to create something, because sometimes when you have too much time, you reflect or you overthink, and then you don't do it. So and actually, like, but the fact that I was in the play, it was more intense, but also that's why I think I managed to create this painting uh, on yeah, because this backdrop, because I understood the story so deeply by acting in it. At least, I could make something a bit more precise, and also what he wanted was quite because it was black and white, and I focused on doing lines mostly, and I wanted to, actually, it is here, we can a bit see them, but it's like, it's a whole bit mess. There are so many things there, but we can see a bit this, because I put it above the sofa, like, and we can see the figures.
Mhm.
So it's interesting. But so I wanted to detail. So what I wanted to do is to take to walk after the show on it, because I was feeling it was too much about the line, and I wanted to work on the shadows and lights. So I may rework on it a bit, but it was a good challenge. Push me to do it for the show.
So you did maths as a bachelor, and then you went to do fine arts as a master's, right?
So actually, what happened is, I did a MA, I did a master in mathematics applied to economy in Paris. So it was a whole 5 years I did in Paris, but based on math, stochastic probability, really, really intense mathematics. And I used to actually really enjoy it, because it was abstract. Actually, I realize now why I used to like it, because actually there was a lot of abstraction behind mathematics. And in the past, it was, like, where I found abstraction were in science, were in math. And so I did this 5 years, and then actually I enjoy the theoretical approach, because I enjoy like learning skills and learning new theories. But when you arrive to the professional world, it's another story. Like, you have to deal with other complications. You're not purely in front of the theory. You are also dealing with people, and so that became definitely a bit more difficult for me. And I was realizing that the theoretical approach and the abstract aspect I liked in mathematics were not there anymore, and I needed to find it somewhere else. And I found it into art and the creative expression. Then when I so basically, like, I finished my first degree in 2007 in Paris. Then when I came to London in 2011, after I stopped where we used to do 2012, 13, and then I said, okay, maybe I should learn and study art, even if for me it's difficult to. I think nobody. I mean, art is inside you or is not. Actually, I don't think we can really learn it, but we can learn some skills, and we can learn a few ideas, a few techniques, concepts. So I applied to the Camberwell College of Art, so University of the Arts, and I did an MA. I think I was lucky. I mean, I don't know. Like, I applied directly to the MA. even if I didn't have a BA in art. And they took me. I was extremely happy that, and because they all said you need to come back to doing a BA in art. And because I had already an MA, they accepted that I went to MA at Camberwell. So fine art digital it was, but I didn't really do digital things. So I explained the leader of the course that I wanted to express more myself to into fine art mediums, and he was open about it. And so yeah, I learned a lot. And so 2016 I graduated from it, and actually it was great experience. I learned it was very conceptual, but I learned also a lot of technique in ceramics, printmaking, lithography, and stuff. Um, so it definitely like pushed my journey and my artistic practice to do this.
Was it a 1 year or 2 year master?
It was actually a 2 years part time.
Oh.
So yeah, so it's like I think yeah 2 days a week and on 2 years. So I think it was better that it wasn't 2 years actually because it helped me to process what I was doing. You
Hmm.
know, because if it was like 1 year, I was feeling maybe it's like too sharp, too. I wouldn't even realize I've done an MA. So I think like 2 years was like okay, I'm doing this, I process it, and yeah, it was very good experience. So and I did also a few short courses as well on the side. At a Slade summer school, I did some drawing class, painting class, and a lot of live drawing to learn more, like skills and about and a bit of sculpture as well in Hampstead Art School in the side on the side. Because in this kind of art school, I realize it's more conceptual what they teach you. They teach you more how to make your idea happen. Like organize your ideas. From a statement, think about it, speak about it, like and yeah, and that's why maybe they took me because I wrote a proposal about actually art and science and the fact I wanted to put them together. And that was my proposal actually for my MA. And I did a few painting. I could show a portfolio. And yeah, the research paper I did was about the spiral shape because I'm passionate by the spiral shape. There is one behind me actually here. We see half of it. Um, so it's more geometrical than my abstract painting. It shows a bit my passion, for math. But the spiral shape is something so mysterious and spiritual as well. So I did my research paper about it. It was very inspiring. I discovered a lot of things.
I realize a lot of scientists have a passion for the art because every time I watch a lot of documentaries, but every scientist like seems to play piano, or even Einstein. Einstein used to bring his violin everywhere, didn't he?
Really? Wow. Yes. Yeah, he was an amazing musician. And actually, like, and I know scientists like philosopher of science in France, and he's painting as well. And he's an amazing scientist, physician, and doing physics. Actually, he came to my studio, and we spoke, and he was intrigued. And some of my painting reminded him the particles, like. Small particles theories and so yeah and I realized like I think art and science are so linked but people think they are not. That's an impression because they don't realize that there are a lot of abstraction in science and they can be complementary and linked and scientists are researchers and they are experimenter. They experiment all the time.
Hmm. Do you think it has to do with the ability to imagine things that aren't real yet? Because I know a lot of in science, a lot of times you have to imagine something and then prove it exists.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly. Yeah, it may be linked to this because the thing is like there are some scientists who are a bit more close-minded. They just like they're very square. So the one who are really open to art usually is the one who are more like philosopher of the science. So they need the creativity to find answer to to the question that they don't manage to answer with pure science because there's so many questions in science that can't be answered. Like the theory of everything is still like yeah, it's still being researched, and so many mysteries are on the way, and that scientists are blocked, and I mean they can't find answer, and for that they need to open the door of spirituality and to open the door of creativity to find answers, because that's the only way. Like with imagination we can find answers, we can explore and imagine what are the possibilities, what's the truth, what's the, like, yeah, what's behind the screen.
Hmm.
Trying to find the truth of what's going on in this world and in the existence in the universe. And we need imagination, totally. That's why I think, yeah, scientists need art as well to
Hmm.
develop their ideas.
What do you think about, I think especially in this country, schools teach art less and less and teach music less and less, and it's a problem because it seems to be, if you're in a private school you're still able to get that education. If you're in a state school you're completely deprived of that education, and it's not only a hobby, it's also something that can open your eyes to possibilities.
Yeah,
um
totally.
what would you wish, like, to tell people, why is art so important for children to grow up with an appreciation of art or even creating their own art?
Yeah, I mean, this is a big problem of our society. Is like the art always come second, and people think that, and government or something, that art is a hobby and that you just do it when you have like extra time. You don't know what to do. You're just gonna do art. So they don't understand it. They don't understand how important and vital it is for the mind and for the people to be able to stay human and to be connected to their emotion is a vital way to be and to survive in this world. And actually, like, it would be amazing if there were more art classes at school, making people realizing that, art is extremely important for their life, and to be guided and to lead their life. I think, yeah, what we need is like definitely more importance given to the art, and also during childhood, everything. During childhood, there's so many, everything that you experience as a child has an impact in your future life. So, whatever it's trauma or it's good thing, if creativity is in you, on around you, it is like a way for you to know where to escape in the future through creativity, and to have this possibility. Because me, I know my father was painting a bit, and so if he wasn't, maybe I would have found out about art, making visual art. But I don't know if it would have been so direct, if I would have thought about it so directly. Maybe I would have spent my life trying to find a medium I wanted to explore and to express myself. So I was lucky that I had this around me, and I think the parents should definitely like push the kids to discover about music, art, and it's also a way to deal with. Anything in life, like up and downs, but also the down, instead of like, there's so many people like going into depression and they had to take all these drugs, or like, I mean, it's when you have to, I mean, there, I think I'm almost sure that there will be less people getting into like mental issues if they were doing more art. So, and it's definitely connecting with nature, of course, is an amazing way to deal with this. But being able to express whatever is inside you, the best way to reveal and to feel, like, that you're creating something from what is inside you. So, hopefully one day society realize that, and I think that it will create a better world, like it will create a more poetic world, and more human as well.
Yeah, I think it's crazy because expressing yourself in a creative way is such a fundamental human need. And yet a lot of people feel let down by art because suddenly it becomes a rich people's thing or a really expensive thing, and it's like, oh, it's for these people but not for these people, which is completely crazy because everybody can pick up a pencil and draw, so there doesn't have to be this divide. But somehow society makes it via money that economically it's only available to
Like,
like upper classes.
yeah, I mean, because the thing is like, every kid is creative, and when we are kids, we are always doing things with our hands most of the time. So the thing is, like with life and society, basically, it's just like killing all this slowly, because you can't it's difficult to survive with your art, and people have to do other things, and at the end people just give up their dreams and their passion because they can't survive with it, and so they need to find other solution. And this other solution usually is a soul killing, and that is killing your emotion and transform you almost as a robot. And the thing is, like, then they lose their creativity, so it's like a vicious circle. And when you're lucky to have the environment around you to help you to do art, to push you and to stimulate you, to realize that you have to keep this spark and you have to keep this fire and passion for art all your life. And because I think as human being, we are here on this world, on this earth, to create. That's also one of the main purpose of our life. So it's about creation, and this world, this universe has been created. Like we are all, so it's a way to. It's about eternity as well. It's a way to, like reach or feel eternity through our creation. We stop time, we express, and we make time tangible on the emotion. When I create an abstract painting, I feel usually it's really linked to a specific moment that is just 1 second. Yeah, you put on the canvas and you express. And 2 seconds later, a painting would have been different. So definitely, it's a way to just make the time and space visual, and tangible. So I wouldn't imagine my life without doing this. So that's why I think I'm trying to push people creativity. It's vital for everyone, even for the people who don't realize it. You know.
Did you ever, coming from a different from the science background first, did you in the beginning struggle to kind of find your place within the art world, or was it quite easy for you to slot into place?
Um, it was a bit tricky. So actually, at the beginning, I was feeling a bit. So basically, like I was friends with different type of creative people. That and then, but I wasn't feeling 100% in it because I didn't have enough experience. I was just starting, so I just wanted to. I just said to people, "This is what I want to do. This is what I'm doing." Showing some sketches and ideas, and actually, mostly the people I met through the journey has had a very strong influence on my evolution. But to be honest, I think at the beginning it was difficult, but I think this is the most. They were the most powerful moments in my creative journey because I realized I was learning so much. I had to, um, go beyond my limits and my boundaries to share with people what I wanted to do and where were my dreams, because I didn't know myself exactly. And so yeah, and then at the beginning, then I used to meet a lot of actor friends, so it was more like theater at the beginning. So I was feeling like, yeah, it was mostly like this part of the creative world. And then when I went to drawing classes, I met slowly some visual artists, and we exchanged ideas, and they came to my studio, and we share thoughts and talking about painting techniques and visions, perceptions, and then after you meet people in events, yeah, I thought I pushed myself to go to gallery openings and stuff, and then you meet people, and then randomly you can meet people anytime, doing totally random things, and that can change your life as well and your vision, and that's extremely powerful. So no, I feel like at the beginning I had to enter in the train of creativity, like being and opening this door, and then now I feel I am in this train, and I am doing this journey with there are a lot of movement, rotation. It's like a wave, and I let the flow, I let it go and see what arrived, and there are always surprises, you know. So
I
in
like what
the
you
end,
said when you said that you gained slowly, slowly by exposing you, by pushing yourself, because I think most of the time people don't come to you. You actually have to make an effort. You have to leave your house, attend events, talk to people, and then slowly, slowly your network will grow.
exactly. Yeah,
I think a lot of young people get disheartened by not having any friends in the scene at first, but
yeah.
slowly, slowly it will grow.
it's very tricky at the beginning, yeah, definitely. But you have to. It's about being confident, but also it's about even if you're not totally confident, you just like being open to talk about yourself and to talk about what your dreams are. But it's a journey. A beautiful thing is like you go into the unknown, and that's what is beautiful. Like to go beyond your boundaries and your comfort zone, going finding the unknown, and then things come to you. You have opportunity, you have occasions to express yourself, to develop yourself as an artist. Because for example, when you pass of an exhibition on a specific thematic, it push you to think about body of work that are linked to the thematic and for the performance as well. So any opportunity, any performance or exhibition make you grow as an artist, and it's really challenging. And it is that's the way things work as in arts. It's an ongoing development and evolution.
Hmm. That's great. One last thing. What's your vision for the future?
Beautiful question. For in my life or in general, like for the world.
Maybe in your life, but you can also speak about the world if the
That was.
we
um,
can do both.
so I think I'd like to embrace as many art forms as possible. I think through resonance, I started to do it, but I feel we are still at the beginning in a way. And I'm curious to see how it's going to evolve. Um, I want to, I want to continue to push my ideas in painting. For the moment, I'm still in the abstraction expression. And I think when I interact with musician and poetry, it will always be the case. But when I paint in my studio, I'd love to explore more the surrealistic um, approach. So I'd love to integrate um, illusions, um, some compositions that are a bit, you know, yeah. Magritte is an amazing painter that I like, and Dali of course, but their ideas are so powerful and so philosophical. And when I was at the beginning seeing their painting, and say, wow, it would be a dream one day to be able to express my philosophical ideas through painting, because you can express a concept as well that is, very abstract but also very philosophical. And these two painters, for example, are extremely, um, like they show me the way for future artistic explorations. But I think I'd love to continue to create really, really big paintings, integrating more figures. Like, yeah, Chagall is also a big inspiration for me. Of course, in my abstract paintings, there are a lot of um, the inspiration, of course, of Kandinsky, or the abstract expression is really there, or Miro, for example. But I also love the German expressionist, like the figurative one. It's and like yeah. So like a few that I have in mind, but I think I think all this period of art history really influenced my practice. And so me as a painter, I'd love to continue to grow and make my style evolve. Continuing the multidisciplinary adventure, maybe pushing my poetry writing, um, like this kind of things, and integrating some words in the painting as well. And so many, yeah. So this kind of things would be a lot to push. And for the world, in a way, I just want, I want people to have a bit of a spark of revelation, realizing that um, creativity and art is an element that we just can't avoid as human beings, and we have to accept. And when people accept it and embrace it, they feel suddenly good, instead of thinking that it's instead of thinking that it's a problem to be creative, or it's a problem that you want or you have the need to make art. It's not a problem. It's a chance, and people who can do it are the lucky one. It's just the society is not totally made for artists and makes life difficult. But yeah, so I hope that creativity will have a bigger place. I'm curious to see how my artistic journey is gonna evolve. How my approach will grow. So I let it go. And things and elements will come into the journey to enrich and make it evolve. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
I'm gonna link all of Aurelie's detail into the description box below, so you're gonna have her website and her Instagram. You can follow her. And thanks so much for tuning in.
Thanks so much, Petra. It was great.